And we got somebody in the comments, it's over 59. But you can only eat them one time, and it's like, well, that was good. And that was
Hey, we're
cheap.
starting, guys.
Next time
Can I
you
make a
eat one,
motion
it's
to
like,
accept the minutes from
yeah,
November
I'm not
14th,
gonna do that again.
2023? I second
They
it.
call them gutbuster for a reason.
All in favor? Passes. Let me see, how about the bills? Everybody read the bills?
E&I computer system, I assume is the monitors,
Yes.
Idaho truck,
Clifford?
Batteries.
performance system, is that us?
Wasn't me.
That was two.
Performance system?
That's the people that do the fire extinguishers.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Come on.
It was partly us and partly you.
That's why you get
Well, I
paid the
paid
big
the
bucks.
one, I paid the one for us, but then they gave me the one for the fire
They used
department.
to be Oxark, so
Oh, okay.
they changed their name.
Anything else?
Didn't see anything.
Anyone make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the bills from November 23.
Do you have a second?
You're on a roll. I second.
All in favor? Passes.
Totally different. According to docs, are they're in the building. They're gonna kick it out. Cause they wanna, yeah. They're the ones that building.
Yeah. Is that right?
There's some shop in our head.
Hey, Jennifer, it's fine. We are just about ready to start with the road validations. I'm gonna put you on speaker. Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I'm gonna pass you down so you're kind of in the middle of the council.
Sounds good.
Jennifer Douglas.
Okay, the council requirement for validation decision to whether council or require a survey report on both.
Well, maybe let's just start with, has everybody seen or is there a copy of the petition for the validation of the public street?
Everybody has that.
Yes, we all have that, and then the petition as well.
And then you've got the statute, which kind of lays out the procedures that counties and highway districts follow for validation. If I propose 40-203A. And there's also, hopefully in front of you, a copy of 40-203, which is just a procedure that is referred to, which is pretty much the same pre-public hearing procedure as a road vacation, which you will be more familiar with. So, I mean, I can take a bird's eye view, or I can go straight to questions. What would you prefer?
Do you wanna go through it?
Sure. So, the petition, kind of lays out the reasons why the applicants or petitioners want a validation. I have received some correspondence from the attorneys for both sides of this dispute. And I talked a little bit to Mr. Snyder about where the litigation is at. It may be of benefit to the district court judge, John Judge, to know what the city's position is. After all, if it's the city
Killer a lot, Killer Associates.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want Keller and Associates to weigh in on this and provide your report to you, which is part of the proceeding, you want to get an estimate from Keller as to what they should charge for that. You need to look at publication costs for the newspaper, the cost of mailing notices to landowners within 300 feet, and so on. So, at this point, I don't know what those costs are, so we would probably need to gather that information. I think the idea behind a reasonable fee is not to make it difficult for somebody to get a determination from the city, but simply to avoid passing the cost of an application that an individual is submitting to the taxpayer. Questions so far?
I have a question. This is Nick. So is this determining for if this is a thing in the future? Are we determining just like if this ever happens again? Or is it just for this particular case?
It's definitely an individual case by case basis. The validation of the road would presumably rely on historical data. You're validating something that has already been platted, or a right of way that's been reserved, or something that's part of the city road system, in which the city has exercised jurisdiction or maintenance and recognizing right of way, public use it for a long time, all those various factors. You are looking backwards in time with this next validation. Now, the weird thing in the statute, it says that you can validate the road if it's in the public interest to do so. So maybe there's situations where there is some data suggesting it's a public road, but you don't conclude it's in the public interest to validate it, which is more of a forward-looking analysis. So I think we'll balance those factors when we're in it, because right now I can't predict exactly how that plays out. Did that answer your question, or did I kind of go off on my own here?
It kind of does, but I guess I'm a little confused as to, we're expected to make a decision on whether we're accepting this without really having a report, or what is the, I guess I'm confused as to what what we're reviewing as an action item.
So, first of all, you should have a report in front of you before you make a decision. You should have solid evidence in front of you. So, I mean, I don't know how to validate a road unless you're just gonna rely on, what the petitioner says and what somebody says in opposition is. Which you could, but I'm pretty sure the statute says we shall have a report. Yeah. If proceedings for validation are initiated, you are to follow the procedures set out in 40-03, and we shall cause a report to be prepared, including consideration of any survey and any other information required by the commissioners. Maybe you got somebody else who can prepare a report. I don't know who would be qualified to do that other than the city engineer. And the city engineer is gonna say, here's what the history of the road is, here's the evidence or the data to consider as to whether a road has been accepted by the city in such a way that the city should validate it. They'll probably stop short of an opinion, but they give you plenty of evidence. I'm not sure that I'm getting to the heart of your question, though. You want to
Well, so
add anything more to that?
it says, council to review requirements of road validation, decision on whether council requires survey, report, or both. So
Okay, that's probably a mistake, and I should have maybe helped the clerk phrase that better. So I'm gonna say that's on me. You do need to cause a report to be prepared in order to hear me. Whether you cause a survey, whether you, have a survey done, is up to you.
So we're deciding if we want to have a survey done to go along with the report, essentially.
Right, and one of the things you should consider is whether or not the parties have had a survey done, because I believe they have in the process of litigation.
issue that the surveys were done, but they don't agree?
Right, we have surveys that don't agree.
I see. Do you believe that a third survey will get them to agree though? Maybe. Or maybe you'll be able to make sense of it if you do an independent one. This is definitely an unusual situation where we need 3 surveys for the same property. Who did the survey, do you know?
Who done the survey?
What's your name?
Terry Golding.
You did, who did yours, Kathy?
I haven't had a survey done.
Oh,
There was an interpretation of the old American Ridge Road that was done by Ellsbury. And that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that.
so apparently there was one survey done. We thought there was 2, but there'd only been 1 done so far, correct? There was an interpretation on another one, but we've only actually had 1 survey done. Well, is that what we can agree on?
The
Or-
road hasn't been surveyed to my knowledge.
Are you asking me or?
Well, did you do a survey? I'm just trying to find out if there was, if
I did
anything
a
was done.
survey, and there's been a couple other surveyors that have put their foot forward, but nobody recorded a map. So, I guess all of them were preliminary, except for mine.
Well, so we're,
We're kind of up in the air then about,
Well, you know what, often in a situation like that where a survey is disputed or there's any serious questions or it's not, it's typical in litigation, is to simply hire your own surveyor and say, hey, here's the draft survey, here's the survey that was done, here's the record of survey, whatever stage that you're holding to that, and ask them to review it. And sometimes they'll come back in a situation like that and say, oh, I need to do a new survey, and other times they'll say, hey, it's all here, between that and the public records, and you can add this additional information. I've had Brett Cuddy do that on some situations before. But he can be difficult to get into, because Cindy, that's an example of someone who I know has reviewed other surveys and just sort of added to the pool of information.
Can I follow up on a question Nick had earlier about this agenda item specifically? That if we are talking about a specific road and voting whether to require a survey on a specific road, in the interest of transparency, should that specific road be written on our agenda?
As a general rule, yes. I believe that both of the parties in litigation were actually notified of this hearing, well, of this open meeting. But yes, if you have a contract, you can say who the contract is with and the dollar amount. If you're talking about a road, you should put the name of the road on it and the number, if there's a number and stuff in it. So as a matter of open meetings law, that's probably best practice.
Where's that?
So, as part of a report, are you interested in getting an estimate from a surveyor to review, as well as your engineer to provide any data they can, so that you can decide what a reasonable fee is for the petitioner?
so she's saying, should we,
I understand
Yeah.
that, but we already have the one survey from Terry, so why can't we use that survey? Is that, I mean, is there a problem with using that?
Who's asking the question and which survey?
Well, this is Wendy Dodge. So Terry Golding already did a survey, so can we not accept his survey, or do we have to do a different one?
I heard something about there being some dispute about the accuracy of the survey, so all I'm doing is saying, if you're not sure, if you can rely on the survey for some reason, I don't know what that is, you can have the survey reviewed by another surveyor, and if there's additional information that the reviewing surveyor wants to add, they can put that.
That was done. That was done.
That was done,
That was done.
That's really up to the council.
so we can accept his if there was already a review of it.
It wasn't him. It wasn't him that did that.
Who did it?
John Ellsbury.
The council can certainly consider and should consider any survey that is put in front of them by either a party who is filing the petition or anyone who opposes it or anyone who supports it. If they've got a survey that's relevant, then they can put it in front of the council should consider it.
So we have a survey that was reviewed by a different surveyor.
Yes.
Okay, so now you've had two surveyors pass on the same survey and look at it and weigh in, so that's good?
So it was, Kathy, they reviewed his survey or a different
No.
survey?
They reviewed the road.
Oh, so
They
they
reviewed the survey of the road.
but not Golding's survey.
No, not to my
Okay.
knowledge, no.
So they reviewed the survey of the road, but not the surveyor's survey, if that makes sense.
None of it does.
Not really, unless the survey that we're talking about, so just we're kind of talking in circles. If Terry Wilson did a survey, did somebody review it?
No.
Is that what I'm hearing?
So nobody reviewed Golding's survey,
That's correct.
Okay. So,
correct?
since a survey was done on the road, and if that's submitted,
Hmm?
and the city wants to consider that, the only question I think is, and I have no idea what the dispute is regarding the survey, if there is any. If the question is simply whether the city wants a quote for somebody to review the survey.
Does the city have to pay for this?
Yes, the city would have to pay for it, that's what she's saying.
But then the cost could be passed on to the people wanting to validate the road. So that's what we're trying to figure out is what costs are the city going to accrue so that it would be passed on to the ones wanting to validate the road, so we're not passing it along to the general taxpayers.
Right, so the costs that jumped out at me are a surveyor to review any survey that's been done and provide independent information to the city council. The engineer to provide a report, legal work that needs to be done. There's already been some legal work charged to this because I've gotten a lot of correspondence, voluminous correspondence, and questions. And of course, the legal work associated with reviewing the reports and giving advice regarding the procedure and then attending the hearing. You have the cost of publication, you have staff time, although that's an indirect cost, it's a little bit harder to quantify and pass on. Cost of mailing, those are the obvious points you don't have it. And we don't know what they are. So you would have to have more information in front of you in order to say, okay, yes, we're gonna charge this reasonable fee. But the point of today is to give you an overview of this process, and then the clerk and Keller Engineering, myself, we can go and collect the cost, what we think the cost will be, and put that in front of you, the next time we meet, whenever that is. Do you want us to do that?
I think you need more.
Is this the only way we can settle this? Is to have it,
Well, I don't really think it's your role to settle it. I mean, the parties are in litigation, so they're gonna get an answer from a court, or they're gonna settle it on their own, out of court. One of those two things is gonna happen. All that's in front of you and all that you're being asked to do is either say, yes, we validate the road, or no, we do not validate the road. You just need to give them an answer.
But we can't decide if we're gonna validate the road till we have all the proper information, correct? Like the report.
Yeah, that's all you need to decide, whether or not to validate the road. After the, notice, application, a public hearing, where you consider all the evidence as well as the report.
I would urge it's a very difficult
I'm trying to turn it on, but it won't turn on.
I'm sorry, I can't
situation.
hear you.
It's a very difficult situation for someone to make a decision that is not,
Well, we're not making a decision though. We're just trying to decide if we're gonna validate the road, right?
You won't decide if you're validating the road, hopefully.
Right.
Until you've heard all the evidence.
Right, but I'm, what
And
we're,
part of the evidence would be,
but yeah, so we need to get the evidence before we're gonna decide, and that's the only part that we would have is if we're going to validate the road, right? Oh, we lost her.
He's good.
I can't resist.
your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number.
Okay.
TDS said it's finest.
That's the,
Inland cellular.
I heard
Said too much.
Somebody's listening.
Take him off at 30 minutes
There's another $500.
for $600.
Right.
Hello, we're back.
Sorry, dumb call. What I was trying to say is I was worried about the decision being hard right now. You know, it might be a lot easier when you have all the evidence in front of you. You can worry about that later. I would say for now, just tell the clerk to see if we could gather the type of information you need to set a reasonable fee so we can get this process rolling to where you hear the evidence and then you make a decision about whether or not to validate the road.
Okay. I move that we move forward with getting the information at least anyway, so we kind of know what we might be.
yeah, up
I'll
against.
second that.
Which road are we talking about?
Old Main,
Old Main, and we're talking about gathering for a survey report and both?
I think we should at least have the survey reviewed and a report, or another survey, but if we have a survey, we should at least have it reviewed. That's my thoughts.
Yes, that's
I
right.
agree.
Clarifying question then, are you wanting to get an estimate of the cost of that so you can let the petitioner know what the reasonable fee will be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Wendy and I will go to work on that, get in touch with Keller and surveyor, and so on. Do you have a surveyor that you selected to do work for the city?
I don't think we do we?
How
Maybe
about
it's Terry
Gabe?
Golding and
Oh, we've used Terry Golding in the past, I don't know if that's a conflict of interest or anything.
Yeah.
I don't think he can review his own work.
Right,
I
so,
can tell Brad, Cuddy, if you want, unless you have somebody else.
How about Gabe?
well, I think she said she could also reach out to Brad Cuddy. If we're,
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I interrupted the vote, but I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no,
Go back to voting.
so we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Who was the
All in
second?
favor?
So to clarify, the motion is to review Golding's survey or to require another survey?
To review Golding's survey.
To have it, yeah, to have Cuddy review Golding's survey and Keller give us a report.
I thought the question was the road, to review the road survey. There's difference.
Do we need both surveys reviewed? Is that a thing?
Sure. There's more than one survey, and it's been reported, Brad's gonna find them anyway, but if, I'll reach out to the council for both parties and say, hey, you got surveys, and you're aware of, please send them to me to make the job easier.
So, the motion should state to review the road survey, Golding survey of Old Main Street, and provide a report,
And for Keller to do a
and
report.
and Keller to do a report.
I'll second.
And we're gonna use Brad Cuddy.
We can try,
We
we
can-
can get him to do it.
Okay.
And you want costs sent back to you at the next meeting so that you can, decide about a reasonable fee with the petitioner?
Probably should have that.
Yeah, we need that.
actually need to vote now. Are we clear on the motion?
I think so, yeah.
Can we have another second, just because you clarified the motion?
I did second twice.
Okay.
All in favor? Passes.
I think, where are we done, Jennifer, for now?
No.
Nope. Oh, sorry.
I guess one more matter, I drafted a written decision dividing application to vacate a right of way or alley. And I don't know, what you think of that, or if this written decision here, your thought process is behind the smile, so I just want to check with you, and make any changes that you need done.
So this is saying that we are not going to vacate the alley at 304 McCall Street?
Yeah, it's a decision denying the application.
Okay.
It's more about the analysis, so if you look at the third paragraph down, that sort of summarizes the analysis. And so I need to know if you guys need changes to that. So that Cindy and I can get those changes done maybe in a meeting, and then you can, with a vote, although you want to accept the decision.
What do you want to do?
I wasn't here at that meeting, so I really don't know.
Well, I think it sounds kind of like what we talked about, that we're not gonna vacate this one, and we're gonna go as a case by case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything about your analysis that should be added to this decision that I don't have in here?
Not that I know of.
No, it looks good to me. Mark?
No, I thought it was good.
Yeah, we think it looks good.
Okay, then you'll see on the second page, there's a motion to adopt the second mineral call vote provision so that you can complete this. And there's a judicial review provision at the bottom, and then that should be mailed to the applicant, and we're obviously everyone within 300 feet that's not specifically laid out in statute, so that's absolutely, yeah. Okay, you need anything more from me on that?
I think we're good on that one.
I think so, once you guys have finished the motion and everything.
Well, you wanna make the motion? I better read it. I move to accept the analysis, or the written decision denying application to vacate the right of way on the alley at 304 McCall Street.
I second.
And it's a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Passes.
What's the second?
Yeah, it was seconded by
Vicky.
Vicky Witt.
Thank you.
Yep. I think we're done with you, Jennifer.
Okay, and you guys, I'm sorry, it's not all the steps and through on my phone. You guys did a roll call vote on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, good, Gary, okay. Okay, well, until next time, thank you and Merry Christmas, all of you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, bye.
Bye. Let's see, yeah. Aye.
No, to have to be official behind this. So I'm Jennifer Bruns, I'm a Juliaetta resident, also work for Idaho Fish Game. Joe Thiessen and I are here to present an opportunity of stocking some fish at the Juliaetta Park in the pond there. So we are set up to, I think we have a stocking request in for what, a couple hundred fish to put into the pond in March. And of course, the idea there to do a stocking earlier in the spring, since we know that the park pond is very low, especially as it gets into the heat of the summer. But we know with the fountain that we have in there, that will hopefully add a little bit of oxygen, and then hopefully stocking the fish early in March will still be cool enough that we'll be able to hold some of those fish. I also talked to the Juliaetta Elementary School today and talked to Angie Cannon, and it sounds like we might be able to do a field day, and the idea would be to try to have a put and take fishery so we can fish those fish out and give local students an opportunity to fish locally. So we'd like to do a big field day with the school if we're able to set that up with most of the kids if they want to go, most of the grades, at least a couple of the grades. So that would be right after we stock the fish in March or April. And so we just wanted to mention that, and if there was any comments, questions, concerns, Joe's the expert when it comes to fisheries, because he's one of our resident fish biologists, but.
So, I have a question, are they gonna be there year round, like, do you expect them to? No. Okay.
No,
Nope, there was a pond survey done 3 years ago now,
yes, Chad Henson did a pond survey.
and both temperatures and oxygen levels, they're just not good in the summer. They won't sustain most sport fish, but especially trout. So the earlier you can get these trout in there, the better, because it would elongate that fishery and allow more opportunity for the people that want to use it.
You know, that was, Hitchcock put fish in there probably 25 or 30 years ago, and there's still fish in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know once in a while they get stuck in so I know there's.
You know what species they are? You know what kind of fish they are?
Well, most of them, when they suck it up in there, the only thing that's sticking out a little bit is their tail.
Yeah.
And, you know, the time you pull that whole rig out and get him out of there and all, you know, they run pretty fast.
Yeah.
So it's, but I know Hitchcock put trout in there. And, you know, they multiply.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few fish in there, just by, you know, just see them swimming on the top.
We have not done an official pond survey on that, but if looking at the pond water quality report that I read, it's probably not trout that are in there. It's probably something similar like Hordeman Pond in Moscow, at least based on the water quality conditions that are in there, and that place only sustains abundant goldfish population. So.
Well, I pump water into that in the summer.
Nice.
As long as the fountain is there, the pump is running and pumping water from the river into it.
So what I think what we do with all of our pond stockings, and there would be no exception with this, we would do an initial stocking to see what the local popularity is of it in its first year. If it is popular and you guys would like to continue, we would do a second and third year stocking and evaluate those fish by putting the foy tags in them, the little spaghetti tags. That tells us both the use, like how many of those fish are being used, but also the longevity of the fishery. And so if things have changed from the historic conditions of that pond and the fishery is able to sustain longer, I think that would be a great positive for the town. And if that truly is the case, then we could expand the stocking opportunities outside of just the cold shoulder seasons. So that'd be definitely something, and to kind of pile on that, if the conditions are what we currently think they are, and it doesn't sustain a year-round fishery, but that's something you guys would like to work to improve, then I think there's opportunities out there for community development grants for developing or enhancing a current community pond. So I think those are all.
Now, a lot of this is, there's a culvert there,
Yeah.
and when it gets high,
Yep.
they go down.
So
So I need to put a screen over that when the river gets high, the pond gets high.
So all the fish that we are aware of that. I actually spoke to the Potlatch River steelhead biologist about stocking, just to make sure, when Jen first presented this to us, I wanted to make sure it wouldn't be impacting his steelhead fishery in any way. And so we are going to put sterile trout in there only. So these are trout that cannot reproduce. So if they do escape, they'll live a couple of years and probably go down to Lower Grand and get eaten by a walleye.
That's what they said about Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Anything else on that note? Questions?
Would volume, would that increase the longevity of the fish?
Yeah, I mean, if you could increase the volume and depth of that fishery, then yeah, that would
And then what?
sustain the temperature, the lower temperatures for longer.
Right, so I was also thinking the deeper you can get, the cooler it can be.
And the more you can get to groundwater, the cooler it'll be. If you
Well, there's a
can-
tributary that runs down through there.
Yep,
So if we catch that tributary, then it would get constant reoxygenated through that tributary and run out the other side. And if you put a lock system, you can maintain that water level at a height that is better sustainable for the fish, right?
you would have to do some infrastructure improvements
Sure,
in order to
sure.
do that, but yeah, I mean, I think, Jen's on the right path, and year one of this, let's stock some fish, shoulder season, and see if it's popular. And then if it is, we can evaluate what the fishery currently is, and that would have informed decisions in the future on what you might wanna do to improve that.
I'm just wondering if it has to be restocked every year.
Yeah, these, even our best, like, fisheries like Dworshak, we get 2 years out of these hatchery fish tops. I mean, they are 100% meant to be put in and harvested out in a quick manner. Most ponds, even the best ponds, with groundwater, we're getting 30 to 45 days out of these fish. And part of that is it's kind of two factor. One, conditions in ponds aren't really conducive for trout in general, and so you're trying to get them to do something they don't naturally want to do.
Right.
But the other thing is, in the right pond system, in the right communities, they are so heavily fished that people can clean out the pond in days, which is, that might sound like a bad thing, but that is as someone that manages fisheries, that is a wonderful thing. These fish are being produced to get used, and so any fish that's not going home in someone's cooler is wasted public dollars. And so we really like to have,
So there's a fee for it.
there's no fee for it, no
Well,
license.
is there a fee to stop?
No.
The kids go down there and fish in there all the time.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I go down there daily and we see the kids with their fishing pole, they're fishing there.
and that's what we're all about. I
Yeah.
like to hear that.
Motion.
I make a motion that we, go forward with the Fish and Game stocking the pond.
I'll second.
All in favor? Passes. So you can put all the fish you want to.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's,
You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay for the
Oh.
whole meeting. If you want to, great, but
Oh,
usually I'm just out the door, like,
Juliaetta juice, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's great. Better than TV.
Did we receive any sealed bids?
We did.
No?
oh, good.
you got
We're not getting rich. It's a sickle mower, the $25 bid.
Who was that?
Clifford. Well, we got a bid here with dump truck, $479.81.
Pretty specific.
479?
479.81.
81.
81, okay. Just for the dump truck?
And the four hydrants, they're $25.43. Sickle mower, $30.
I knew I should open up all the bids and then I would know.
And pickup toolbox, $5.
One toolbox?
It just said pickup toolbox,
Okay.
$5. Plow blades, 20. Do we have a sandbox down there?
There's one sander that we're getting rid of.
Oh,
We're keeping the one that works, but the other one,
yeah, $10. What is this? Oh, 10. $20.
Miscellaneous pile.
Oh, miscellaneous pile.
So we have a miscellaneous pile of metals and stuff?
Yes, I know
Okay.
that.
yeah.
This is from Ed.
I knew it.
And,
I was
yeah.
about to say it.
What was the miscellaneous pile?
$20.
20 bucks.
I should have $30.06.
And that was
That's a gross close against a Heimgartner.
That's what you get for
The
going
little
cheap.
dog house, well house, it's so cute.
They're down.
Well, I would have
Oh,
loved
we
a
just
fire
brought
hydrant.
the trailer down.
Looks like it's about $585.
So we have to accept or put it back out, essentially?
Let's get
Yes,
her passed and get
Yeah,
rid of it so they can get that cleaned up and get it.
Okay, so I make a motion to accept, Ed's sealed bid.
I second it.
All in favor?
Almost had a car cars.
No.
Doug lost the car and found out about it at the last minute, but he couldn't get down here to put a bid in. But he would have cleaned it all up too.
Okay.
Almost $600.
Number 7.
Now we gotta go to the election. Do we have whatever it takes? Your numbers?
I sent everybody the election results. Of course, there were only 2 people running for council, so they will automatically be sworn in January. So that'll be Judy and Wendy. And then 3 ran for mayor. Richard Grosclose received 91 votes, Jeff Loman received 25 votes, and Eric McCall received 39 votes. Those were all canvassed by Latah County.
I make a motion to accept the, election results.
I second.
All in favor? CU, CDs
They're pretty much staying the same. So I just say we roll it over for another year. So hopefully after the presidential election, maybe it'll go well. When I talked to them, they said, you know, the higher up you go, the lower the interest rate is going, not further up. As before, it was like, if you did 6 months, it was like, say 4%, and it was, you know, 4.25, 4.5, or whatever. Now we're at 5% annual, which means quarterly, we should stay about the same, which is better than what we were getting before, which was like 2.75%. So we were barely making $55 every quarter. Now we're making more than that. We're making a couple hundred, so.
I move to roll the CDs over.
I'll second.
all in favor? Passes. Consideration of purchasing Jersey barriers placed at the bottom of Second Street.
So I did have a conversation with Charles yesterday, and we decided on a location that would not interfere with the water line, the main water line that's there. We would get 4 barriers and put them down there, and then there would be 2 feet in between each barrier so that you could walk between them if you needed to. It wouldn't be a barrier to a person necessarily, but it would cover that area pretty well in case something does get loose and get out of control and go down that hill again. So that's totally up to you.
How big,
They're, Ryan, they're like,
are they
it's the
fixed
bigger,
wires?
it's the ones that are at the park, they're along the wall.
Yeah, they're 8x3.
Yeah.
Yep.
8x3.
So
So,
for the $50 ones or whatever
they're between $50 and $60
from
each.
Atlas or
No,
from Creekcast.
it was.
So there's I got 3 different quotes. The cheapest is gonna be Wilbur up in Spokane, but they deliver it for the cheaper price, I think it was. I think it was $55 a block, I think, that they were.
So, if you guys think it's okay, we can go ahead and put some barriers down there just for safety.
And the main purpose was for what?
The main purpose is safety, because that car
Keep cars,
car lost its brakes and went through there.
I get it.
It would also sort of protect the power pole there too. I mean, it would just be a.
Got a guy wire there,
What's that?
a guy wire for that pole there.
Yeah, the guy wire and the pole. So Charles is requesting that of the city that we do that, so that's where it sort of came up. But
But when they're going 90 miles an hour.
Okay, so my opinion is it's not a safety thing. Because if you hit that barrier, what are your chances compared to going down and hitting trees or slowing down as you're hitting dirt? And so the chances of that particular instance, that girl hitting that barrier could have been way worse than her going down further than she did.
Yeah, that would have killed her right then and there.
Absolutely.
She should have died anyway.
She could have very easily, but being on that call, she hit
should've.
that barrier, her chances would have been so much slimmer.
I don't know about that, Wendy, because she went, well,
Charles, you
I
can argue with
understand.
me all day, I'm not gonna argue, but that's my opinion.
Well, okay, I respect your
I'll have to
opinion.
agree with you, Wendy.
What I'm saying is that when she went over that hill, her car turned sideways, she didn't hit a tree.
Right,
Had
what
she
I'm
hit a
saying,
tree,
what
it
I'm
would've been just like hitting
saying
a barrier.
is, it's not a safety deal. If she would've hit that barrier, her chances would have been so low. But the fact that she went down further into the road, down into dirt and into the embankment, that slowed her down enough that she did survive. If she would've hit that barrier, she might not have survived. Not as fast as she was going when she went over that hill.
She would have thrown her right out through the.
It's a safety thing, so it doesn't happen to go into your property or to your home. If she would have traveled further to the left instead of going to the right, that I do understand. But I cannot logically say it's a safety thing, not as an EMT, not with what I saw.
But it could protect people on the other side of it.
It'll protect his home.
So just to clarify, a steep city street, one of the steepest, where someone has an incident where they could have hit his home off of a city street, this could have protected his home from someone going down and
Well,
off a city street.
I mean, it just depends on how it's traveling. But if she would have hit that, if she would have hit a barrier that day, I don't know if she would have made it.
But not her, I'm saying like.
Well, that's what I'm saying, every instance is gonna be different.
She's coming off a city, someone could be coming off a city street, a very steep city street, and she could have gone off our city street and gone onto his house or porch or whatever.
Right.
So coming off, we have a dangerous situation on a city street that may not protect the person driving.
Right, but we're not gonna do that on every city street, we
No,
can't do that.
but we're talking about a very steep city street.
Right.
There is a significant factor of this particular street, and we do have an incident that actually points to that.
Right, I mean, I agree, I mean, I have no problem putting him there, and, you know, I'll agree with that. But I cannot, in my own opinion, say that it's safety for
The driver.
that person.
Right, no, I
With that-
totally.
For that particular reason behind it.
Right, I understand that.
That's what I'm
This
saying.
only
So,
happens
can I have a-
once every 40, 50 years.
Yeah,
No, I've been here for over 2 days, and there's been 2 people in the last 50 years, I would say that's
right.
not over that.
There's been another also that you know of that's gone
Yeah,
over that?
50, probably 50 years or 55 years ago. And that there was,
I mean, we're
No
lucky
one
that
in- no
all
one
these
was in
roads
the
that people
car.
haven't lost brakes or slid through with snow. I mean, I have almost slipped through on this ice. I mean, you just never know, but
So, question. From EMT and firefighter standpoint, is there something else that would save, like going through Charles's house and potentially like a softer, I mean, I'm just asking, like, is there something better we can do that isn't going to throw somebody through a windshield and achieve the same results?
The big tubs full of sand that DOT uses.
I know where you can get a couple. Down the road construction. I'm just asking.
no, I get you.
Yeah, them big tubs of sand would be about the only thing, but
Sometimes they fill them full of water too.
So, but I feel like
I
we're
don't know.
distracting from the fact that
That
the gal
just
who was
break
driving the
fall.
car is not in here asking about the safety.
Right, but I
issue.
think too,
The
didn't you
guy
bring it
whose
up
house-
too, that it was also to kind of help with the water barrier and the road sloughing
Absolutely.
off, and so that's originally what started.
No,
So
no,
because I know that you were concerned with when that particular accident happened, you were worried about,
there's a couple of
For-
issues. There's an erosion issue that's been going on for 50, 60 years.
but isn't that what started the whole conversation about putting the barriers?
No, what started the conversation is when the car went through there, and she didn't hit no dirt, she avoided the power pole, clipped the, guide wire, went over the hill, her nose dove into the lower section, and the car flipped over, which is what saved her.
But wait, Charles, didn't you, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
didn't you address the city, or there was an issue with erosion there though before?
There was an issue with, water line that's running down,
Okay, gotcha.
that, me and Justin had discussed, and y'all approved to put a line in, and Justin told me that's looking great.
So that's unrelated to this?
That's unrelated to
Okay.
this, correct. This is about, and that's another reason that we were talking about spreading them apart, because she's right, if you hit if a person hit both of those barriers, even with the shocks on the bumpers, it may throw them through the windshield, right? If you split those barriers apart, now there's less a tendency for them to hold together, the car will push it out some, and if they got their seatbelt on, the potential is, I know it's 10 to 1 after the potential is that they'll remain in the vehicle. If you're looking at the person driving's issue, from my perspective as a homeowner or the person that lives there, had she been going faster, she might have very well come to the end of my trailer. and not flipped over. you
Yeah,
know.
Well,
depending on the angle of
She
where
could've went
landed
through
it.
anybody's house
And I'm not-
down, she could've went left or right and went through anybody's house.
Agreed, but there are no houses that are at the end of the
Well,
street.
see, if
like
she
that.
would've went a little bit to the left, she could've went right through Neil Grinnell's house.
Yeah.
If she would've went to the right, she would've went through Steiger's house.
No.
I mean, there's a
no.
lot of variables, there's a lot of variables to every accident.
Certainly, but in this situation,
In this situation, she missed your house by what, 120
the only
feet?
But
other
there's
place
physics,
that's
though, in
relevant,
which you gain speed going down this particular road.
The
And
only
it's
other
more
place-
dangerous the further you go down the road.
And she went as far as she could go.
She sure did.
Yeah.
She didn't
But
put
Which
she
only-
still missed his house by 120 feet.
because she chose to go on the other side of the telephone
Well, I don't
pole.
think she chose really anything. She was just hanging on.
She was just hanging
She
on.
swerved over.
Yeah, Jesus take the wheel, here
Okay,
we
let's
go.
just go further with this. I mean, I didn't mean to make
Yeah,
it big,
it was
I just
bad.
didn't
They
like
had
the
to get
idea
in
that
there
we were
with
saying it's a
skitter.
safety thing, because we have to, I
No, they
don't wanna
didn't.
look at it that way.
Well, not for the right.
I don't do that
Right.
shit.
And you were there.
We didn't see, we
Yes,
weren't
it's
anywhere
not a
around
safety
with
thing,
that.
the
right?
person's going
Right,
first.
that's how they got the car.
To help with
Yeah.
something happening, someone going through.
100%. But she's not here asking for the safety area.
I don't know what to do. We can purchase them and set them there, and if we just, Charles wants them removed at some point, we could definitely use them somewhere else, at the park or other places, but, you know, it's totally up to you guys.
Well, if you put them there, you'd need to put them in an angle.
Yeah.
If you come down here, you'd have to put them at an angle, so if you hit it, you would veer off and go to the right.
Well, if you come down the hill, they'll be at an angle, we are gonna do an angle, but it will veer the car to the left, cause the corner turns left.
Yes.
So it would just be kind of diagonal there, and kind of
But
diagonal
if you
around.
turn it to the left, then them houses sitting there, you're gonna crash into them.
It could
So you
go,
wouldn't want to go
You
that
don't want
way.
that.
it could go to the right.
Well, if you go to the left one, it might deflect them down Water Street is your assumption,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
And
doubt
to the
that.
right would go to, is that,
You'd have to
no,
go
there's a
over
cliff and a garage kind of right there. But I
that
don't.
garage is. It's
Well, no, the
how
garage-
would it tip
it's-
over?
yeah.
I prefer
It's
Big bushes down there, the berry bushes.
Yeah.
it's very
I wouldn't want to crawl through there.
Concrete blocks, I
If
think,
you get that,
I don't think she was killed.
I don't care if you had them
well, I think,
up 8 feet apart,
Should've said that.
and you hit one of them, and the things are kind of built so they, like this, well, then that's gonna throw the car into the air. And then you'll be flipping down over that hill. So it's a bad situation, I realize, but
I move to just purchase some Jersey barriers and we'll look at it and see, if we decide that they're,
Permanent or not, yeah.
yeah, permanent or not, we can look at that after we get them.
The other suggestion I might say is we have a guardrail down over on your road. Maybe just putting some sort of smooth guardrail in there would slow a car down, you know, if it's a curve, you know, not a straight line barrier, but it's just a curve or something.
I like that.
We could look
I
at
like
it.
that idea better too, because that would be a softer option than that
Yeah.
concrete.
Right,
It's
so-
It's a proven.
But, and it would slow something
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
What do you think, Clifford?
okay, so then I say we move forward with the guardrail, I changed.
Hang on.
Move forward with the guardrail.
Yeah, okay.
I
I
like the
agree.
right
I think maybe I was not thinking about the,
Well, thank you for bringing it up before we,
well,
yeah.
the barrier aspect of
I
it.
second Nick's motion.
But we can,
We're gonna get one motion right the first time, I swear.
On the guardrail. The guardrail.
So you want to purchase guardrail rather than Jersey barriers?
yes, I will check with the state to figure out what requirements are.
Wait a minute, we talking Jersey barriers or eco blocks?
Guardrails now.
Or guardrail
Well,
now.
Jersey
You're 5
barriers
minutes behind,
are
right?
lots more safer than eco blocks.
Yeah, we skipped that. We were gonna do Jersey barriers, but now we're looking at
Okay.
guardrail.
We're gonna put on,
We're gonna do what literally every government agency.
And if not, Clifford's gonna steal some of those giant things full of sand on his way home with his little car.
Yeah.
I'll take pictures.
We're just bitter about the moment, that's all we do.
Okay, now,
I'm gonna take it anyway.
do we have a second on
Yeah,
this?
Yes, Mark.
seconded.
Nick and Mark.
All in favor? Passes.
I'll vote my time.
Increase
You
the
have to put it in,
amount
we need to.
of raises.
I got your phone number now.
I know, right?
So this is if they move up
Yeah,
in
if
a
you
water
went down
license
there,
and all
just
that.
get her,
We
wouldn't have to
Yes.
cut all the berry bushes
we need to talk about that, right?
We kinda touched on it, yeah.
Hope these days.
I was stuck at work.
Currently, it's a 50-cent raise.
yeah, I moved the week.
I-
Wait a second though, this is specifically just the water and sewer type.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna say $2 at least.
Don't watch the Rolling
Did we say like even
Stones
2.5, did we say like $2, $3? We talked
I
about
thought it
it.
was
Did we say
cents.
It's 50 cents now.
Yeah.
So we can't change the amount that's already in the budget till next budget, right? Is it it's budgeted at 50 cents? So we have to accept that unless we wanna go through and reopen the budget and change the budget.
Well, then why are we talking about it?
Because we have to approve it, we never approved it, we just
Oh, well,
talked
then
about
we'll approve it.
Well, so,
you can approve it and then put it in the budget for next year.
it, if we choose to go up.
I just wish the agenda said specifically what the license were.
I think they varied their licenses more. I think they vary, they
The only
climb.
licenses
Yeah.
we have are water and wastewater licenses.
They have to go to school in order to get them.
Yeah.
I'm all in favor for raises on it, I just, I like specific agenda.
Somebody, I moved the week, accepted.
I'll second.
70s.
Or how much?
50 cents, that's what it said.
Then we don't need to change, we don't need to have any sort of.
I thought you said we
motion.
couldn't do anything till next year.
Yeah, if
Oh,
we don't say anything, then why are, yeah.
so it's a consideration to increase the amount, so if we want to increase the amount from 50 cents to $2, but then we would have to open the budget.
Yeah,
Change it,
they
right?
do that.
Is there room in
Have
the
to open
budget
the
for
budget.
any increases in these?
I can check, and we can table it until January, I can check and make sure, because we are dividing it out between sanitation also, so.
I can tell you that Ryan has applied for his water one license, or Bonnie, did you write a check yet?
No.
Not yet.
He has the paperwork filled out, so all you have to do is write the check and he can put it in.
Oh, to take it?
To
Yeah.
take it. But that is the only license I know of coming up. I need to take my water too, but it probably won't be until like February or March
Right.
next year. So this issue isn't immediately pending or anything.
So is it gonna be 50 cents per license? Or
It
50
is
cents
currently.
It
I
is
mean-
50 cents per license.
per license? And how many licenses are there?
5, plus a CDL.
Plus a CDO. Shouldn't that be on the agenda per license?
It's always on the agenda.
Yeah.
I've already gotten my 50-cent raises for sewer, cause I'm done now, and I have
I was just
one
following
water.
Mark, because Mark's right, it should be on the agenda specific. That's all I was saying.
Oh,
I just say that I think there's enough money in there for the raise. I'll look at the $2 and figure it out, the difference, but like I said, we divide it between all 4 now. So it should be okay, because most of the time they don't take like 5 tests in 1 year, so.
I thought we talked about this when we had the budget open, that we were wanting to raise it up.
No.
I remember, no, we didn't?
No, you talked about it when we were talking about our raises in September or October.
For the general raises, not raises.
And then
raises
we
per
talked-
license stayed at 50
We
cents.
mentioned that, you realized, you stated that, I didn't realize you were only getting 50 cents per license.
Yeah,
that's as
that's what
far
I'm
as
saying,
it
so
went.
we talked about.
But that was in September, the budget was already done.
Yeah, yeah.
So do we just wait and then until January and have it look at the budget?
Yes.
So do we have to table anything or just skip it?
Let's skip it.
You gotta skip it till the next year.
Or on to number 11? Right.
Yeah. To give, employees a gift card, bonus for the holiday gifts,
How much?
well, $100.
Well, what does council want?
I think it's been a tough year for residents, and, you know, staff got really nice raises this year, and they deserve, for the most part, and, I don't know.
Well, so,
What did we do last year?
yeah, what did we do last year?
$100.
Okay, but I think there's a misconception a little bit about the city being poor versus, I mean, I think we have the money, because the previous councils for the last 30 years have, you know, helped us to where we can afford to, you know, take care of our employees. And if it means that I have to give up my January check for them to have a bonus, I would do that for you guys.
Well, that, it's already in the budget, so.
Well, I mean, I know that it has been a tough year for citizens, but I do think that we need to, you know, take care of our people, because they've definitely taken care of us.
Some might think that a $4 raise is taken really good care of them. I'm not against giving bonuses and things, but at some point, residents, and I'm a resident, you feel like your government's picking your pocket. And I'm not saying in this particular case that's the case, but the vote is never no. There's never a pushback on it, and I'm pushing back on it.
You push back on everything almost though, so we are pushing back. And I've actually sided with you a couple
Okay,
times on
tone
the
it down,
pushback.
we're talking about a specific agenda.
No,
item.
I'm just saying that we
We're
have
talking about a
been,
specific agenda item, so you can say everything, we're talking about this item on this part of the agenda.
well, no, I was agreeing with you on some of the pushback stuff. I have agreed with you on some of that.
Raise your eyebrows.
Well, I move that we give them $100 for it.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Passes. All right, Justin.
Okay.
Your turn.
Well, thank the audience for bearing with us, and thank you, city council, for doing a good job. Couple things, Ryan found wheels on Marketplace for the Tundra for $100, $25 per wheel. We checked with Dick and Bonnie, and they said go for it, so we got new wheels on the Tundra. The other ones that Josh had painted they were peeling, and the hubcaps were broken, and so we had those installed. They said the brakes look good, the tires were good. And they fixed the sensor in the wheel because the arrow light kept coming on the dash, so that's fixed now. But they did say that one of the back shocks was bad, and so to replace both back shocks at Les Schwab is $332.48.
How much?
$338.48. We don't have to do that this year necessarily, but we probably will have that done at some point on the Toyota, as just part of the maintenance. Last city council meeting, I forgot to mention that the city contracted with Midco Diving to clean the lower reservoir. It's part of our required maintenance of the water system. The estimate is $4,126, which seems like a lot, but it's actually less than we paid previously to have the upper reservoirs cleaned 5 years ago. So it's actually a really good bid. And they are the ones who did the clear well at the water plant, and so we know who they are, and they're gonna put us on their schedule when they come through. And the other thing, We did cut the trees down on Main Street over here. There's a new property owner. He asked us to take a look at it. His insurance company was complaining that the trees were hanging over his building, and they were also starting to crack the sidewalk. So to try to avoid the problem that we have uptown, we got a really good deal on the tree service, so we just had them taken out. So that's why they're gone. So I think that's all I have.
I'm glad you brought the wheels, because I was gonna ask about them. I wanna thank everybody who attended and helped at the lighting ceremony we raised, and especially Bonnie for donating the money from her chili cook-off, and the raffle, and the fire department for providing the fire truck and sand and everything. We got $136, which will go towards lights next year, so I think it was pretty good, and appreciate everybody who come out to support us. Thank you.
All right, I just want to thank our city clerk for helping me with a personal banking issue I had. She was very gracious and helpful. I just want to say thank you, and it's a reflection of the customer service that we do have at the city.
How about you, Wendy?
No, I don't have
Bonnie?
I don't have anything either. Nothing going on.
How about you, Butch?
Santa Claus comes to town on the 23rd.
Woo!
On the 23rd?
I'll be there.
At 1 o'clock at the community center.
Real quick, couple of notes. Up in cemetery, Justin and I have been spreading some mold poison to get rid of some of the holes. You guys know the cemetery is pretty dug up there. Also, we fixed the fence today down at the ball field, the big ball field. And we found out that it was actually beavers that are getting into the tree and chipping the roof, and that's what caused the tree to fall. So there's some chips. Thank you.
You need to get those pictures of those beavers.
I move to go into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206, subsection.
Oh, yeah.
Do you wish to have
up
a
around.
session? This is not something
Straight,
that
straight.
we have, if you wanted to call and talk to Jennifer.
Between, on this side of the mini store.
Yeah, that's where I usually say we have to go to this.
There'll be traction across the.
On the agenda,
Just in case you wanted to talk privately.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea either.
then carry on, sorry.
Subsection 1F, to communicate with legal counsel for public agencies to discuss legal ramifications.
Okay.
It's a roll call vote, isn't it?
Yes. Yes or no? Yes.
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 Corner?